Planète Claire.
Manon, Manon, non, tu ne sais sûrement pas, Manon, à quel point je hais ce que tu es. Sinon, Manon, je t'aurais déjà perdu, Manon. Perverse Manon, perfide Manon. Il me faut aimer avec un autre. Je le sais, Manon, cruelle Manon, 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 non, tu ne sauras jamais, Manon, à quel point je hais ce que tu es. Au fond, Manon, je pense avoir perdu la raison. Je t'aime, Manon.
Le podcast.
Hello and welcome to Planet Claire. We just heard Manon from Serge Gainsbourg, which brings me around very nicely to tell you that today is a special edition of the show. Last week I had the pleasure of chatting to Jeremy Allen, journalist, French pop aficionado and author of the brand new biography, Relax Baby Be Cool, the Artistry and Audacity of Serge Gainsbourg.
So hi Jeremy, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yes, good, thank you. Yeah. How are book sales going?
All book sales, and now you're asking. I don't really know. I mean, I have been watching and refreshing on the terrible site that we're not meant to talk about, and but they do have a chart. So I've been looking, and it was kind of. It has been riding high, and it was hanging around the top 30 for about a week, and then it sort of dropped a bit, and now it's got it even made number 8, so it was in the top 10, which I've always wanted to be in the popular music chart. So now it's sort of going back up again, but I probably need a bit of a boost. So maybe all your listeners will go and buy it, and
I'm sure they will. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Belgium and UK and anybody else in the world. So.
In fact, I don't even know if it's available in Belgium. I know that the publisher Jawbone is licensed to sell books in the UK and the US. So I've had lots of French people saying, "How do I get your book?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. But
well, I'll find out for you and give it a little push at the end of the show.
Yeah, all right.
And is this your first book that you've written?
It's the first published one. I wrote a fiction book called Rupert's Birthday when I was about 20, which was crap, but this that we shouldn't really talk about, and I hope nobody still has that. It was never published, but someone might have the manuscript somewhere, written on a word processor while I was drunk, So no, it's my first book, first of many, hopefully.
Great. So why Serge? Why When and how did you decide to write the book?
That's. I mean, do you want the short answer or the long answer?
The long answer. We can always edit it.
well, funnily enough, actually, I mean, I'd always wanted to write a book, I suppose, but Serge wasn't actually my first choice. Oddly enough, it was Unbound came to me. You know, the kind of they crowd fund their their projects.
Yeah.
And my first thought was when I sat down and thought about it was I was actually going to write a book about the darkness, right?
Okay.
You know, the band about darkness. Like, I mean, whether you like the darkness or not, I personally do, but I know that they divide people. I'm very good friends with the bass player, and I've sort of known the band. I saw firsthand the astronomical rise, and then the incredible fallout within 18 months. It was such an amazing kind of like biggest band in Britain, absolutely everywhere, more famous than Prince Charles, and then suddenly like crash the cocaine and and it was just I just thought, what a story, what a brilliant story. Anyway, they didn't want to do it, so after I'd sort of had to think about it, and then I thought, well, what about Serge? I've always wanted to write a book about him, and there aren't. When I spoke to a lot of French people for the book, like people who knew him and artists and what have you, they were like, well, there's been quite a lot written about Serge, to be honest. And in France, of course, and probably Belgium, there has, but in English, there isn't that much. I mean, Sylvie Simmons' book is great, but it's quite slender. And I just thought, well, I love Serge, but I'd like to recontextualize him for, we're in a moment, I think, where provocation, which was his oxygen, as he said himself, is not the currency that it was, is it? You know what I mean? It's kind of it's really being provocative is not, that's not the first kind of thought that people would say right now, because it's such a sort of fragile world where we seem to be in. So and in that sense, his art is quite challenging, I think. In a lot of English people don't understand it, but if they did, they'd be quite shocked.
Did you speak French when you first heard it?
Well, I don't speak French now very well. I mean, I no, I certainly didn't then. I get by with it in French, but for someone who's lived in Paris for 5 years, pretty shameful actual levels of French. My conversational French just isn't quite there. I've been interviewed by a few French papers, and I say, could we do it in English? Sorry. But yeah,
I'm always going to do the second half in French.
well, yeah, you're on your own. Well, I mean, it's not good enough, but I can read it, and I can obviously. I've studied it. There's just something that I just don't hear it as well as I could. I speak it better. Anyway, my limitations aside, I mean, Serge was limited himself as an English speaker, but he loved English. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's how I let myself off the hook with that one. Serge, I kind of got into him in about 2005. Someone sent me a DVD, Le Nouvelle des Étoiles. I think that's what it was called. See my French, brilliant. And it had these sort of 88 different videos from his career.
Okay.
And I put it on, and there are only a few moments in your life, I think, where something just goes bow, and you're like, this is for me. Even though I didn't understand what he was saying, there was just something about it, and I realized that the stars align, and you realize that this is gonna play some role in your destiny or something,
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I was similar when I first heard him as well.
Yeah.
96 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's quite something, isn't it? When you first hear him, it kind of bowls you over.
Yeah, and I think there was something about the because it was on a DVD. I think he's very visual as well, so it kind of it was a perfect storm and just went boom in my head, and I mean, so that was about 2005. So I, you know, you've had 10 years more with him.
I'm getting on a bit though.
No, well, I am. But anyway, it's a beautiful thing anyway, and so I went in pursuit of finding out more about him, and you know, Sylvie Simmons helped to a degree, but I wanted to know more. And this was 2005, so YouTube had only just started. You know, it wasn't pre-internet, but there weren't ways of finding things out like there are now. I mean, it just kind of wasn't. You know, so I had to sort of, and I gave up drinking, and so I had a bit of extra money in my pocket, so I started hanging out in Paris, and it just kind of, you know, and it was a gateway to French culture, and I think once you start to understand Serge, you start to understand other French pop music, and so it just became, I hesitate to say, a journey.
You can do that if you like. Do the inverted commas. So you moved to Paris. Was that for the book, or was it? You know, you were there for 5 years. Is that right?
Yeah. No, well, that was kind of weird, really. I met my partner Claire, and we actually met on a dating site, and she said she lived in London because she was thinking she was going to move back here. But she was actually in Paris, and I had a bit of a Paris thing going on. And then I met her, and we fell in love or whatever. And then it turned out she lived in Paris as well. So it's like, oh, hey!
Double whammy, bonus.
Exactly. And I was living in a terrible situation in Tottenham at the time. And it was like, okay, well, so then we moved in together in Paris, and that went all very well. And we have our little son, and you know, it was nice. It was a kind of it was serendipitous. Not that I believe in that kind of nonsense, but yeah.
So obviously that helped with the book and being in Paris.
I think it did. I think that there are cultural kind of shibboleth, and there are things that you'll never understand unless you go and live somewhere, I think. And obviously, you know, he spent most of his life in Paris. It's not the same place as it was necessarily. No. Well, it is in some ways, actually. I mean, it looks the same, doesn't it? I mean, they kind of preserved it, but so yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic city. I mean, I absolutely love it. But
me too.
Yeah, I mean, even if I didn't assimilate as much as I would have liked to have done or should have done, as a writer, you just sort of sit at home writing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only people I see are down in the cafe. You know, like there was a guy in the cafe, and I used to come in and go, qu'est-ce qui se passe? And he used to, and he started laughing. It was like, I was like, what? I thought that was like, you know, qu'est-ce qui se passe? I thought it was like, hi, how you doing? You know, what's going on? But no. You know, he thought it was hilarious. What was I saying? So yeah, I think the book is better for the fact that I had more of an understanding of French culture, because a lot of the book is kind of explaining that, or at least sort of contextualizing Serge in a way that maybe hasn't been done before in English, where you kind of understand the kind of the cultural and the political and the social environment a bit more.
Why do you think it's important for like an Anglophone culture to know about Serge?
Well, I don't know if it's important. I think we don't have anyone like him. I mean, he's so unique, you know, and I mean, he's so funny and so ridiculous, and there's you know, there's so much going on there. The multiple personalities, the kind of, I just love him, and I think, you know, I don't think we have anyone like him, and so whether, you know, for me it was absolutely brilliant fun to explore. Whether it's important, you know, as Oscar Wilde said, you know. No, I'm not going to start doing Oscar Wilde bon mots. To paraphrase, all art is useless, and you know, that's what's great about it.
Yeah. So from the title of the book, the Artistry and the Audacity.
Yeah.
That kind of says to me that you're coming from both angles, his personality and his music.
Yeah, so I wanted to do the Artistry comes first, more rather than the Audacity, because I feel like more people kind of know about the Audacity. You know, the Audacity has been played up quite a bit. People know him for Je t'aime moi non plus and saying something quite rude to Whitney Houston on TV. So for me, the Artistry was important to actually kind of get into the music and analyze the music and try and sort of look at that. And so I go album by album, and with each album, it's kind of thematic. So rather than like a biography where it's sort of like he's born, his parents did blah 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 blah, and then he kind of, you know, has a career, there's either redemption or whatever, and then drops dead. Do you know what I mean?
So it's not chronological; it's more thematic.
No, I mean, yeah, I didn't think the world needed another one of those. I read enough of those, and so yeah, I mean, it is chronological in the sense that the albums are in order, but then it's not sort of linear. It kind of takes from all over the place. But I like that idea because his music's kind of like that. He was quite acquisitive, and he stole bits from here and there in a kind of Dadaist melange, you know. So that was the thinking behind that, and yeah, I think you know, and so I've kind of threaded the stories into these themes. Like it sounds more complicated than it is, maybe, but you have sort of aesthetics, or you'd have film, or Nazis, or, you know, and then I sort of stick those next to with one of the albums, and then you can thread the stories into it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so it's kind of it does jump about the place, but I think with someone like Serge, that was sort of you know, something that suited him really. But so yeah, there is some of the Audacity, definitely some of the Audacity, but the Artistry was more important because I don't think that gets discussed enough. I mean, he was, you know, such a provocateur that he brought that on himself, really. But you know, the music really does stand up. So I wanted to sort of pay tribute to that a little bit.
And so you would say it differs from the other biographies that have been written in English in terms of your approach.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried about that. I didn't want to sort of repeat it, but people have said that it's quite different from the others.
Yeah, I think the first one I read was Alan Clayson or something like that. But it's it doesn't really get there for me. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't like to slag off another writer, but that one's terrible. I mean, it's really bad. It's really bad, and I mean, there's so many factual inaccuracies in it. I mean, he writes for like 2 pages about Serge and Jane's wedding, and they never got married. You know what I mean? Absolutely weird.
Complete fiction.
No idea what he'd been smoking, but it was So, but yeah, so no, I mean that one is not great. Then there's the Darren Anderson. He did the Melody Nelson 33 and a third book. That's good, but you know, very slight as well.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. It jumps. That one jumps about a bit as well, actually. But the Sylvie Simmons one is the kind of gold standard that people go to, but it is kind of slender, and she kind of based it. Have you read the Gilles Vallon?
Oh no,
the big tome. She kind of based it on that. I mean, if you read that, hers is very much based on it. So it's almost like a synoptic gospel of Serge. Which is fine. It does its job, but then if you read some of the French biographies, they do tend to follow this almost approved story of Serge Gainsbourg, and it always involves the kind of Birkin and Charlotte, and it's kind of almost like the invisible hand of Philippe Lerachom, his manager, and actually I wanted to get away from that a little bit. Although funnily enough, the people who I interviewed, it was Charlotte, it was Serge's 95-year-old sister Jacqueline, who was great, who we went up to a place in Avenue Beaugard where they lived after the war. I mean, that was fantastic. And Charlotte spoke to me, Jane spoke to me, and she was amazing. And the others who are kind of almost excluded from the story, but I mean, is it exclusion? Is that they didn't want to talk? So, you know, his other children, they didn't want to talk. So yeah, I felt like there was this kind of I don't know. It's a shame that they don't want to talk, because I think it would bring an interesting perspective of
you'd have a wider perspective, wouldn't you? From
exactly. There was another French book actually which was really inspiring. Bertrand Bergelat recommended it to me. It was his friend Marie-Dominique Lelièvre, I hope I've said her name right, called Gainsbourg sans filtre, and she is hard on him. I mean, she really, you know, kind of she takes no shit. She's like, and it's really interesting reading that, because she looks at him in a different way. You know, she talks about his house at Rue de Verneuil, and you know, his almost sort of orthopedic chair. He sits on a like hard chair and in this very inhospitable environment, and kind of, you know, he's kind of, there are quite a few things in there that are kind of, you go, oh. So I thought that was quite interesting to look at him from that angle, and I don't think it was very popular with the sort of with Lerachom or the kind of Gainsbourg estate, but you know, you need that other perspective, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And most of the people who I spoke to were incredibly loyal, actually, but Jean-Claude Vanier wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was quite rude, but you know, in a loving way. But it was nice to have someone throwing some shade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want the polite view all the time, do you? Really?
Not all the time, but you know, I mean, I think people genuinely loved Serge Gainsbourg. You know, I mean, people who knew him. I mean, he does. You know, he was sort of, yeah. I mean, with some misgivings. So there was a lot of loyalty there, and he was allowed a lot of rope. Put it that way.
So yeah, it's been very critically acclaimed in the press, the book, and a lot of artists that have read it, like Beck. I'll just read out what Beck says about the book. It's a trip into unravelling the mind and genius of one of the greatest artists of all time. Although Gainsbourg's music has been discovered by new generations, his life has rarely been illuminated and contextualised with such style and insight. So did you meet with a few artists that have been influenced by Gainsbourg for the process of writing?
Well, I didn't meet Beck, but thanks, Beck. That was very kind of you. that was great, actually. That kind of the 18-year-old boy in me was leaping around. I was like, yes, Beck. I love Beck. And Mike Patton as well. I mean, I spoke to Mike Patton, but that was over the phone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was over the phone, but I met a lot of artists as well. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was done I interview a lot of artists anyway, and it just so happened that I would maybe pitch for writing interviews about artists who, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking,
that's clever.
No, that they quite like Serge Gainsbourg, and so so you can be talking to them for. By the way, I've got do you want to talk about Serge for 5 minutes or whatever? So doing that over a couple of years, actually, it meant I spoke to quite a lot of people, even if I've just got a kind of a quote here or a couple of quotes there, you know what I mean? Say, for instance, Acid Arab, who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be. Well, I mean, I don't know. The music doesn't necessarily sound like Serge Gainsbourg, but they're big fans and they really knew his stuff as well. Mm-hmm. It gave me some really interesting insights. And I also spoke to people like Chili Gonzalez, who had some great things to say, and as I mentioned, Bertrand Berglat, Bertrand had some amazing things to say, and actually, about sort of French society in the 70s and that kind of thing. And do you know Jean-Emmanuel Deluxe? He came in at the 11th hour, and kind of some of the things he said, we were just talking on email, and it was kind of like, yes, you know what I mean? So I feel like I got lucky with some of the contributors because they really knew their stuff. And it really helped to make things, it certainly makes it different from the others. And hopefully there are a few little revelations in there as well. Certainly for English people reading, there are a few surprises. I don't know whether the French know all the stuff already. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it gets translated and what the French would.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Whether the translation in the pipeline or.
Well, there's no plans for it at the moment, but it depends really. I mean, there are so many books about him already in French, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a market for it, but it's not something I've been thinking about too much. I wouldn't even know where to start with that, but something to discuss with my agent, I think.
I remember we mentioned Françoise Cactus a few weeks ago, and sadly passed away. I think you interviewed her for the book as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Because, I mean, they're obviously Stereo Total did a version of Relax Baby Be Cool, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I was going to suggest that we give that a listen on the show, so maybe we can give that a listen now, yeah.
That's a good idea, yeah. Oh, bless Françoise Cactus. She was so much fun. I was really sad to hear about her.
Oh, yeah. Sad.
Relax, baby, be cool. 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 Me v'là perdu dans la foule. Relax, baby, be cool. Tout le monde il est ma boule. Relax, baby, be cool. Ça me donne la chair de poule. Relax, baby, be cool. 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 Je marche comme une somnambule. Relax, baby, be cool. Dans cette foule qui me saoule. Relax, baby, be cool. C'est sûr, je vais perdre la boule. Relax, baby, be cool. 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 Dans cette foule qui roule. Relax, baby, be cool. J'ai peur de me casser la boule. Relax, baby, be cool. J'ai la trouille, c'est ridicule. Relax, baby, be cool. 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 Relax, baby, be cool.
Rectangle, le podcast.
So, if he was alive today, do you think he would be massively popular?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, that's something that's discussed in the book, and also, would there be enough room for him with you know, his provocations or whatever? And I leave it quite open ended, but I sort of let some of the contributors have their say on that. And you know, there's some people who think there wouldn't be enough room for him. In fact, the drummer Tony Thunder.
Allen.
No, not Tony Allen. Tony Allen is in it actually, because I met him. He was great. God rest his soul. No, Tony Thunder Smith, and he played for Serge and Lou Reed, and he was kind of saying that neither of them could exist in today's, you know, kind of, if they were emerging now, they would both be finished. But then you've got someone else, Gonzalez actually was saying that well, actually, you know what, Serge was someone who never apologized, and if you don't apologize, then maybe, you know, you kind of get away with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I think people assume that, you know, artistic types are always kind of a bit left leaning, and you know, and so Serge was kind of anti-communist, straight down the line centrist dad. I mean, he was kind of maybe a little right leaning actually.
I think I read somewhere that he didn't vote. Is that true?
He didn't vote. No, he voted once for Giscard.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people never forgave him for it. He was sort of apolitical, but then he did Rock Around the Bunker. So, you know, again, another massive sort of contradiction.
Yeah.
So anyway, where was I going? What did you ask? I've forgotten now.
Whether he would be popular today.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's hard to say really. I don't know. I just don't see an artist like that emerging now. You know, I can't really imagine that the conditions are right for someone like that. I mean, it's just part of a distant world, I think. You know, and certainly the Lolita stuff. I mean, that just he couldn't do that.
You couldn't get away with that. No, not at
there's
all.
There's no way you could get away with that. You know, the past is a foreign country. I mean, that just seems so weird to us now and so alien. You know, in some ways, he'd love to shake people out of their complacency or their reverie, you know, and just kind of go, you know, wake up. And he did that very well. But I mean, the Lolita thing, that just became a theme. He just did it over and over and over. You know, it kind of becomes a little bit tiresome towards the end. It's kind of like, and he's this grotesque, isn't he, by the end? You know, and he's kind of
the longer it goes on, the more of a dirty old man he becomes.
yeah, absolutely. Which he absolutely loved, and you know, I love the fact that he did it and sort of got away with it. But I in all honesty, no, you wouldn't get away with that now.
No, I mean, there's been stuff in the press recently. I think in the no, it was in the Daily Mail, wasn't it, about him being controversial, and that there's kind of some stories coming out now about him maybe a bit handsy or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. This is the thing. I think that, I mean, I do wonder. I think his sort of legacy could be in for a bit of stormy weather at the moment. I do see that coming, and that they're having a bit of a reckoning in France. I think that they're kind of they're talking about sort of consent, and there's this like big story at the moment about I think a teenage girl who was coerced into having sex with, like, you know, a legion of firemen or whatever. And I mean, it's dreadful, but I think it's good that France is sort of having that conversation.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, if these characters who he inhabits, because I think they are characters, you know, you can be a character in a film or in,
totally.
but in songs, apparently that's not okay. You know, maybe it's the sort of silly singer-songwritery thing where you have to sort of wear your heart on your sleeve or whatever. People can't quite imagine that, and if people start conflating, you know, the character in the songs with the news headlines, then his legacy could be in trouble.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I agree with you on that. I came across something unrelated recently, but there was a pop video with a girl being chased and murdered, and it was really controversial. And I was thinking, yeah, why? It's only the same as in a movie. Why can't a pop video be like a movie? So
yeah. Well, I think it does have something to do with that kind of West Coast sort of, you know, James Taylor, kind of Crosby, Stills and Nash, all that kind of singer-songwriter shite I hate. Actually, I know. I'm sorry. I'm probably you'll have people phoning.
Well, I'll have to add that out in case my mum and dad listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me. I find that kind of I find it actually disingenuous as well. That kind of everything has to be, you know, your pure soul kind of. It's just crap. I don't know, but then that's just me. I mean, I know a lot of people love that stuff, so bite me.
I guess I grew up on a lot of it, actually. So
yeah, no, well, you know, that's all right. I mean, you can throw me off if you want, you know.
So it would be interesting to know how he would see things politically now. I mean, what do you think he would think of the current climate with the pandemic?
Oh God, I don't know. No idea. No. I mean, that's been a weird one, hasn't it? Some of the people who sort of, it seems to be a kind of, well, you've got your sort of thick Britpop kind of stalwarts who are suddenly coming out. I don't know. It's just who knows? It's unimaginable, really. I mean, I think we're all just trying to get our heads around it.
Exactly. Yeah. True. And just finally back to his legacy. What do you think his legacy is? Also in terms of his family, as well as his influence on musicians.
How do you mean his family? As in what? Well, I mean, Charlotte's his legacy, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah. Musically, really. For example, Charlotte's just done. I think it's a great track with Django.
Oh right, yeah.
Waking Up. I can't stop listening to that at the moment, so I might play that. His influence on Charlotte, for example, and
Lulu. I say in the book that Lulu's like the Boo Radley of the book, in that like everyone was really rude about him and kind of like almost like these conspiracy theories because he's so quiet, you know, and as a musician, maybe he's not all up. He's not up to it. I don't know. I felt a bit sorry for him, but if he didn't, he didn't want to talk to me, so I even tried to contact him on Instagram. And so I spoke to a Gainsbourg impersonator from Rouen, and he was saying try and get him on Instagram. That's the way to do it. But yeah, no joy. Well, his legacy is kind of huge. I mean, Charlotte, I think her last album, Rest, is just brilliant. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But in a way, the thing about Rest was she was almost kind of wresting control from him in that, you listen to Charlotte Forever and that's all him. And it's a weird dynamic on that record. I love that record, but you can almost hear that she just wants to be like knocking around with her mates or doing whatever, you know what I mean? She doesn't really want to be there, but it kind of works, mm-hmm. but it's sort of, I can sort of understand why she didn't make another record for 20 years. And then she sort of finds herself as an artist, and she's in her 40s or whatever, and that record is brilliant, so in a sense, I think Charlotte is almost, her brilliance is almost in spite of him in a way, and the acting, her acting side, I mean, comes from her mother, really. I mean, Serge's films, I think Thème Mon Ampleur is pretty. It looks beautiful. Willy Courant, I think he's Belgian cinematographer. I think he might still be alive, but it looks amazing. But his other films are crap. I mean, they just, I don't know. Well, he did Anna as well, which is good. That was with Anna Karina, and I got to meet Anna Karina, which was amazing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this book took me to some good places. It was cool. What was I saying? So yeah, his legacy. Yeah, sorry about being rude about his films, but I go into
I can't even remember the title.
Okay. I go into great detail about why his films are terrible, so it's fine. But musically, it's interesting. Him and certainly his arrangers. They did some, Vanier, Jean-Claude Vanier. That music that they did together, and also Michel Colombier as well. I think his stuff is so good. But with something like Melody Nelson, it was so ahead of its time that it absolutely bombed at the time, and 30 years later, or 20 years later, actually 20 years later, it kind of gets rediscovered. And this sort of cinematic sound, that bands like Air and Pulp to a degree were doing, and then the whole Bristol sound, Massive Attack, and there are all these David Holmes, and they're all kind of influenced by this album. And I think that that's a big enough legacy in itself. I mean,
that's when I when I was into him, probably about 94, 5, 6, and then all this stuff came afterwards. So I was seeing it kind of emerge from Serge Gainsbourg with me own eyes, like her, and
also, Sly Dunbar.
Yeah.
I mean, he said to me that if it wasn't for Gainsbourg, it may not have, reggae may not have opened up like it did in France. You know what I mean? So his legacy is felt.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, exactly.
Is there one track you could pick, maybe, that very influenced by his music?
Let me see. Well, as we were talking about Sly Dunbar, why not Arms, etc.? Because it's just great.
Yeah.
Hail to the Lord's anointed, great David, greatest son. Hail in his times appointed, Jah reign on earth is now. Jah came to break down pressure and to set the captive free. Drive away transgressors and to rule equality. Equal rights and justice stands for I and I all. And all those that love Satan kingdom must fall. Let hands and heart be pure and cling to rally round the red, the gold and the green. Come on, all you children of the nation. The day of glory is now at hand. We see the bloody flag, sing a song. Pick up your arm and come, sing a song, etc. You want and come. I know miss a man every hear me sing the high. If you're seeking now, you're seeking for a high. Eyes is I. Nothing want to eyes is I. Yield that for I, man, and eyes is I. And in that day the righteous shall gather together singing joy of redemption, joy of song of love. And in that day the righteous shall come together, and all the wicked shall crumble in the presence of the Most High. Sing a see a song, cup your hands and come. Sing a song, etc. Take your hands and come. Amour sacré. If love is the key of life, then let's live on. Make love out of the east, man, we make it on the north. Over to the west, man, we make it on the south. Sing a song, what the eyes is, man, sing a song. From the day that I was born, they was singing out love, sing a song. They see the bloody flag rise. They take away with children, they take away your sons. Lying in your arms, say they take away your woman, a son. Take up your arms and come. Cause if we want a solution, then we need a revolution. Want a solution, man, we need a revolution. A revolution of the minds. Revolution of the minds. Yeah. Why can't we come together? Why can't we stay together, man? Want a solution, man, we need a revolution. Want a solution, say we need a revolution of the mind. All this senseless, idiotic, senseless killing must be done. You know that but if we want me say we want to live and love. Why can't we live this year and see the youth them live up until them live and pray? Look like the youth them nowadays now pray. Sing fire for the wicked, fire for the righteous. Them send fire for the fire and fire for fire and fire upon fire. Now who start the fire? Cause if you want a solution, people you need a revolution. You want a solution, then we need a revolution. Revolution of the mind. All the fighty thing we done. All the fighty.
Actually, Cutthroat was one that was Russell Mayall's favourite track, because he just loved what he did there and the whole controversy, and it was also Tony Allen's favourite track. And
right.
Yeah, he wanted to work with him, and he went to Lagos, and he decided that he was going to come back and seek Serge out and work with him, and then he died. So that would have been nice, wouldn't it?
That would have been amazing, yeah. Super talent. I think I saw him twice, Tony Allen. Very sadly, he passed away,
Yeah. I interviewed him a couple of months before, and he was all getting raring to go. It was for his 80th birthday celebrations throughout the year, and then COVID happened, and then he was, gone. But such is life.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
let's try and finish.
Thank you anyway. Thanks for chatting to me. And one last question, actually. Future books. Have you got anything in the pipeline?
No, I'm kind of thinking about that at the moment. I was talking about doing a sort of memoir, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So it was a football-related memoir, and I don't think necessarily the publishers are biting my ankles off for it. So maybe another music book, but I can't really say any more about that at the moment because I need to write some treatments. Is it treatments? No, it's proposals. I need to.
Yes.
Yeah, or a proposal.
Is that a bit of reverse franglais there, treatment? Traitement.
Je ne sais pas.
Anyway, thank you for speaking to us, and good luck with sales.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm less concerned with sales. I just want lots of people to read it. I think that would be great. And that's all you ask for, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although if there are, if people do want to collectively buy me a yacht, then fine. But Somehow, I don't think that's coming with this one, but who knows? The world's a funny place. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know what's.
If we carry on with like this, I mean, everybody's going to buy it, aren't they? Because everybody's going to have read every book. So.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Keep doing the lottery because we'll all be millionaires one day.
Le podcast.
Jeremy's book, Relax Baby Be Cool, The Artistry and Audacity of Serge Gainsbourg, is available from Jawbone Press in the UK or in Belgium from bol.com or amazon.fr. I'm going to finish the show off today with a track that's a collaboration between Django and Serge's daughter, Charlotte Gainsbourg. This is Waking Up. Thanks for listening.
With gardens overgrown, the windows broken, curtains blown, front door swinging.